Most people over 50 have absolutely no idea that the most damaging habit destroying their knees isn't running, isn't climbing stairs, and isn't age itself. It's something far more silent, far more common, and far more dangerous. And what's truly shocking is that knee specialists, orthopedic surgeons, and joint researchers have known about it for years, but the public was never warned because this one habit is so normal, so routine, and so universal that almost every adult over 50 does it without thinking even once. Today we're going to expose exactly what this habit is, how it slowly grinds down your cartilage, how it weakens your stabilizing muscles, how it accelerates osteoarthritis almost 3 times faster, and how people over 50 can stop this knee destruction immediately with a simple change that takes less than 60 seconds a day. And it's probably something you did this morning. Before we start, let me ask you a question. When you stand up from a chair, do your knees crack, click, or feel stiff for the first few steps? When you walk downstairs, do your knees feel heavier or weaker than they used to? When you sit for too long, do your knees feel tight and worn out when you finally stand? If yes, then this video is literally written for you, because what I'm about to reveal affects more than 82% of adults over 50 according to a clinical review from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. And it usually gets misdiagnosed as age-related knee pain when the real cause is something much simpler, and much more fixable, than anyone ever told you. The number one habit ruining your knees after 50 is prolonged sitting combined with poor joint alignment. And let me explain why this is far more dangerous than it sounds. When you sit for long periods, especially on soft couches, deep sofas, low chairs, or beds, your knee joint compresses at an angle that pushes your kneecap, or patella, slightly out of its natural groove. Biomechanics researchers call this maltracking, and it's one of the most overlooked causes of knee degeneration in older adults. When your patella shifts even a few millimeters out of place, the cartilage underneath starts scraping unevenly. Over time this repetitive grinding causes micro-damage, inflammation, swelling, and early-stage osteoarthritis. But here's the real horror, the pain doesn't show up immediately. The damage happens quietly for years before symptoms appear. So by the time most adults notice discomfort, the cartilage has already thinned dramatically. Let me introduce you to Harold, a 67-year-old retired engineer. For years he thought his knee pain came from his morning walks. He kept cutting his walks shorter because every doctor told him it was overuse. But when he finally visited a sports medicine specialist, they found the real culprit. He was spending nearly 5 hours a day sitting in a deep sofa that tilted his hips backward and forced his knees into a stressed angle. The expert explained that his pain wasn't from activity, it was from inactivity. Or more accurately, from the wrong type of sitting. And Harold isn't special. Research from Harvard Biomechanics Lab found that people who sit with improper knee alignment lose nearly 40% more cartilage volume over 10 years than those who adjust their posture or change their sitting habits. That's almost half your cushioning gone simply because of the wrong chair. Now you might be wondering, why does this get worse after 50? Why does this habit suddenly start ruining knees when it never mattered earlier in life? The answer is sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle after age 50. When the quadriceps, hamstrings, and calf muscles weaken, they lose their ability to keep the knee stable. This means every minute of poor sitting posture becomes far more damaging because the muscles aren't supporting the joint anymore. So instead of your muscles absorbing pressure, your cartilage takes the full impact. That's why so many seniors wake up with stiff knees even if they didn't walk much the day before. And here's where things get even more alarming. Doctors rarely tell seniors that weak glutes and hip muscles can silently twist the knee joint while sitting. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that hip weakness is one of the strongest predictors of knee arthritis, not aging. Weak hips allow the thigh bone to rotate inward while sitting, causing the kneecap to rub the wrong way. Imagine a door hinge slightly crooked. Every time you open or close the door, the hinge grinds worse. That's exactly what happens inside your knee when your hips don't stabilize it properly. And yet almost no one over 50 exercises their hip stabilizers, which is why this habit destroys knees faster in older adults than any other age group. Let me tell you about Maria, a 72-year-old grandmother who loved gardening but could barely kneel anymore because of her knee pain. She assumed it was old age, but in reality she spent every evening sitting in a recliner chair with her knees bent sharply and her hips twisted. When a physical therapist measured her hip strength, she found that Maria had lost almost 50% of her hip stability, which forced her knees out of alignment every time she sat. After adjusting her sitting posture and doing simple daily alignment resets, her pain dropped by nearly 60% in just 6 weeks, without medication, injections, or surgery. So now the question becomes, how do you fix this? How do you stop this silent cartilage destruction? How do you rebuild stability after 50 so your knees stop grinding, swelling, and aching? Experts recommend 3 incredibly simple but powerful corrections that thousands of seniors have used to reverse knee pain naturally. The first correction is the 60-second alignment reset. Every time you stand up after sitting, straighten your legs completely, tighten your thigh muscles for 5 seconds, release, then repeat 2 more times. This draws the patella back into its natural groove, resets joint pressure, increases blood flow, and reactivates the stability chain. Many orthopedic specialists say that doing this one habit daily may slow knee degeneration dramatically. The second correction is the elevated seating method. Stop sitting in low chairs, deep sofas, and anything that sinks. Use chairs where your hips are slightly higher than your knees. This position automatically decompresses the knee joint and keeps the cartilage from grinding when you stand. Seniors in Japan use this trick routinely, which is part of why they have drastically lower knee arthritis rates than Western countries despite living longer. The third correction is what experts call gentle anti-gravity walking. It's simple: walk for 1 minute every hour you're awake. Not power walking. Not exercise walking. Just slow, natural movement that lubricates your joints with fresh synovial fluid. Researchers at the University of San Diego found that seniors who walked a single minute every hour had nearly 50% less cartilage deterioration than those who sat uninterrupted. But here's the part that truly shocks most people. These small corrections matter far more than heavy exercises, gym routines, or long walks. Because when your knees are over 50 years old, every moment of misalignment damages the joint, while every moment of correct alignment allows it to heal. It's not the big workouts that protect your knees, it's the tiny habits you repeat every day. So the real enemy of your knees isn't age, exercise, or genetics. It's the silent, overlooked, daily habit of sitting wrong, and the weakness that sneaks in after 50. But now that you know the truth, you have the power to stop it. You can protect your knees, ease your pain, and rebuild stability with simple adjustments that take seconds. And if you do them consistently, experts believe your knees can feel 5, 10, even 15 years younger. If you're over 50 and struggling with stiffness, popping, swelling, or weakness, leave a comment telling me exactly what your knee pain feels like: sharp, dull, tight, or burning, and I'll reply with personalized advice based on your specific symptoms. And if you found this helpful, share it so another senior can save their knees before it's too late. Your knees have carried you for decades. Now it's time to give them the support they've always deserved.